What's up, YouTube? This is Chris with Murphy Firearms Training. I want to talk about something today. I like revolvers a lot, and one of the cool things about revolvers is that if you buy the right gun, you can shoot more than one caliber, and that's really cool. So this is a 38 Special. This is a 357 Magnum. Now, these rounds, I'm going to hold them in my hand here, and I'm going to put the rims side by side. This is a 38 Special, and this is a 357 Magnum. Now, if you don't know this about revolvers, what makes them special, and one of the reasons I like them so much, is that a 357 Magnum will shoot both of these cartridges. And let me show you something. So this is cool. All your modern 38s have what's called a shell stop made into them. So a 38 Special slides right in. This would close, this would fire. The 357 Magnum stops short. You cannot get that round to go all the way into that chamber. And because it won't go all the way into the chamber, you can't close the cylinder. You cannot fire a 357 in a 38. Now, the reason that's important is because 38 Specials operate at a very low pressure. It's an old, low pressure round. 357 Magnums operate at a much higher pressure. Now, if I take the 357 Magnum, it will chamber 38 Special or 357 Magnum. So it will shoot the lower pressure and the higher pressure round. And that's kind of cool. So if you think you might want to shoot both of these, you can buy a 357 Magnum and shoot full power 357 Magnums or weaker, lower recoil 38 Specials. Kind of fun. You get to choose your recoil level. It's almost like shooting a muzzleloader. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I want to talk about that, but then I also want to talk about the dangers of owning a revolver like this. So I own a 454 Casull, and it will shoot 454 Casull and 45 Colt. I own 357 Magnums, and they'll shoot 357 Magnum and 38 Special. I own a 44 Magnum. That'll shoot 44 Magnum and 44 Special. Okay? Here's the problem, is if you have both rounds and you take both rounds to the range, you can run into a problem. And here's what I want to show you guys today. So we had this gun at the range a while ago. We were shooting 38 Specials in it, and I'm going to try and get the camera to focus down these cylinders here. And if you look in these cylinders, and it's very, very hard to see, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can see the shell stop in there. It won't let anything too long go in. Okay, but there's also, it's a dirty gun. I haven't cleaned it. It's a dirty gun, and I left it dirty for a reason. So, and if you look in there, you're going to see some dirt down there at the end, this end of the cylinder. What happens when you fire this shorter cartridge, okay, is that from the mouth of this case all the way to the end of the cylinder, you get a buildup of carbon and burned powder and unburned powder and dirt and debris. And eventually, if you shoot several 38 Specials, shorter rounds, okay, so I'm going to set this here. Basically, from the edge of that brass to the end of the cylinder, you get a buildup. It'll be a black, dirty buildup. If you shoot enough of these, eventually, the 357 Magnum, which is longer, will go into a chamber, okay, in the cylinder. And I'm actually going to see if I can find one where it might stick. I don't think this gun's dirty enough. It also depends on the tolerances of the gun. No. Looks like these are all clear, okay? So what I want to show you guys is when I'm out shooting 38 Specials, if I switch to 357 Magnums, that ammo should just fall in, okay? It should just fall in, okay? If I have to push it in, I will not shoot it in the gun. Because here's what happens, folks. You have an issue. You shoot this, you get a lot of dirt built up in the end of the cylinder. Then you try to chamber this longer round, and you've got enough dirt built up that when you go to chamber this, it sticks about right there. And you have to force it in. What's happened is you've got enough carbon buildup around that cylinder. Okay, you've got enough carbon buildup in each chamber that brass fits in there really tight, and it won't let the bullet escape the brass. It can actually blow your gun up. So it's great to own 357 Magnum. It can shoot 2 different rounds. But if you're going to go to the range and shoot 357 and 38, my suggestion is you shoot your 357s. After you've had enough of those, then you switch to the shorter 38s. Because what happens is this is going to leave a ring from there forward. And then when you chamber this guy, it's not going to, that ring is not going to interfere with chambering that 38 special. Okay? That ring is going to be further forward. It's not going to cause you chambering issues. So anyway, that's my recommendation. If you've got a revolver that will shoot 2 calibers and you're going to shoot 2 calibers at the range, start with the longest caliber first, shoot it till you're tired of it, and then switch to the shorter caliber. Or option 2 is if you want to shoot the weaker cartridge first, shoot your 38 specials. And then if you want to switch to that longer brass, that 357 Magnum, take a bore brush and just go through each chamber a few times and loosen that fouling and that carbon and that buildup up. Then run a patch through to get all the loose stuff. Then switch to that longer round. That way you don't run a risk of getting this gun over pressure and possibly blowing it up. So anyway, I hope that helps someone who's new to revolvers. They're lots of fun. I enjoy them a lot. And the other thing I do want to mention is this is a fairly new 38 special. Do be careful. The 357 Magnum was invented in the 30s. I want to say 1935, but don't quote me on that. But it was invented in the 30s. Well, the 38 Special was invented before the turn of the century. It is actually a black powder cartridge. All of your modern 38 Specials that have been made since the 357 Magnum have that shell stop that I showed you earlier. If you come across an old 38 Special that predates the 357 Magnum, the 357 Magnum will actually slip right into that chamber, and it will blow that gun into a million pieces. So, something I want you to be aware of, if you come across an old 38 Special, do be careful. Do be aware of that. So, guys, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I appreciate your support. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up.